From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, we go over that monthly stimulus check and we go over the incredible great news about that $3.5 trillion recon passed and why viewers of this channel will upwards get about $15,000 from this incredible $3.5 trillion recon. Cluster number one has hazard pay, and then a push to add in an additional $25,000 on top of that. Cluster number two has home repairs, and push underway to put $250 billion on top of that for seniors. Cluster number three has money for free internet, and a push underway to put MSCs on top of that. Then we got the big exciting news that no one saw coming, as we have huge details of a potential deal in the works with who else but Joe Manchin. A new report says there's a possible deal for the recon that concerns climate and concerns Joe Manchin. You'll hear it at mornings. Then, big surprise as more student loan debt is forgiven, and one viewer heard his debt is forgiven while watching the show live on air. And then the big shocker, as COLA is raising your benefits up 5 to 6%, but that is only the first raise up. What's going to happen? I'm going to explain in this recording how you're going to have 2 more raises thereafter. Wow. We'll be cutting over the third stimulus as a viewer went into the weekend with $36,000 he didn't start the week with. We'll be going over more about the dramatics of a big deal underway to get that recon finished and signed and sealed. I have the latest details. It's a big, bold, beautiful morning. I'm excited you're here. We got a big show today. It's a supersized broadcast this morning because the toast is toasted, the butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing, and the big breaking news is right here on Mornings LA. Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day and hope the weather's good where you are. It warmed up once again here in Southern California with a heat wave back upon us. Boy, where did that come from? In this recording, we'll go over that $3.5 trillion recon that passed that has money for hazard pay, money for home repairs, and money for seniors, plus the push underway to add to a recon that already pays viewers about $15,000, the push to add an additional $25,000 on top of that, and then to push to add a second add-on, which is $250 billion for seniors, and a push to add those MSCs. We have the latest details in this recording. Then, wow, no one saw this coming, a potential deal with Joe Manchin. What's going on and how does this work? I have the latest details in this morning's broadcast. Then, student loan debt forgiveness, more debt forgiven, and could it be you? You may find out in this recording. Then COLA being raised up, but it's only one of 3 raises you're going to get. I got the latest details in this morning's broadcast. Then we cut to the big money that is being added on to with third stimulus as one viewer went into the weekend with $36,000. Get that pen and paper ready because this is going to be a show that I'm going to show you how to get money as well. And we got a big broadcast today. This is LA. Thank you for joining me on the 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel, America's only in this country. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is noontime at 11 a.m. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. We got new shows today at afternoons at 3 and then evenings at 5. Like the video and become a member. Let's turn to this $3.5 trillion recon, which is important to remember what it is. It is money for everyone. Single individuals, married couples, people in red states, people in blue states, SSI, SSDI. This is all money for you. And most of the viewers of my channel will, on average, get about $15,000 from this recon when it passes. I'll, of course, show you how to get that money when it passes. Let's go to the first cluster of 3 clusters that have passed. hazard pay, and $4,000 of elder care. What is this? Let's go over the details. First, they broaden the earned income tax credit so more people qualify for the money, and more people get more money as essential workers. Then up to $4,000 a year for elder care, up to $4,000 a year for young children's care. Then free money to repair your home. Yes, this is free money if your community is a low-income community. Then they got money for college students. The Pell's grant to them made tax-free to the university grants and also to the college student. How about $51,000 of MSCs? They got it in there. They got the CTC child tax credit, broaden the eligibility, increasing the amount of money, up to $300 a month, every year for 18 years approximately. If that family is a low-income family, that's $51,000 a child. Then they got money in there for bikes, trucks, cars, and vehicles, all electric, all U.S. auto manufactured. Up to 15% for the purchase price of a new electric bike. Up to $7,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, personal use, a little bit more if it's business use, and a little bit more if it's a truck. That is your first of 3 clusters passed in this $3.5 trillion recon package. Now, there's packages that are proposed or clusters that are proposed to be added to the clusters. And the first we're going to look at is this one. $25,000 is being proposed to be added to the recon. And who does it come from? Maxine Waters, the legislator from here from Los Angeles. She's proposing to provide you free cash of $25,000 to buy your first home. This is huge. Yes, $25,000 to buy your first home. How would this likely work? I think it would likely happen during the escrow period. During the escrow period, the federal government will give $25,000 on your behalf to the seller. Wow, incredible, great news. That is the first add-on to these clusters. Let's turn to the second cluster of checks. And remember, all these clusters have nothing to do with COVID. They're just life in general. That's how you're eligible for them. And the second cluster of checks has in there money for home repairs and paid family leave. Well, how much is that paid leave? $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. $800 a week if you make $35,000 a year. $400 a week if you make $15,000 a year. Family leave, you have to stay home because your wife is pregnant. Medical leave, you have to stay home because your son broke his leg. They got household tax credits, child care tax credits. They got money for seniors like dental and vision. Watch for that in the third cluster. They got free community college, pre-kindergarten, and then they got more home repairs in there, this time to weatherize your home. Not a low-income community, just in general, to weatherize your home. Definitely need to weatherize your home, especially if the moderate Democrats are on the roof. As I always say, keep the moderate Democrats out of the House, and wherever possible, keep them also out of the Senate. There we go. That's the second cluster of 3 clusters passed in this $3.5 trillion recon. But now let's look to the second add-on, and it comes from Bob Casey. Yes, Senator Bob Casey, the 61-year-old Democrat out of Pennsylvania. He's proposed an incredible provision add-on, and it would be $250 billion. That $250 billion, what is it for? It's for seniors. It's for people on disability. What would it be for specifically? Generally things like home health care. The concept is brilliant. This is what he's looking at. He's looking at a lot of people who need home health care but can't afford it. So what do? They do the cheapest alternative. Have their son or daughter leave work and stay home to take care of their parent. Causes strain financially on the son and daughter, and still does not give professional medical care to the elder. So he's proposing $250 billion direct to the state that would provide you free home health care, so that you can have your son and daughter do what they want to do with their lives and go to work and make money, and you would get free home health care from a licensed professional. Incredible idea. There we go. And guess what? The third cluster has checks in there for seniors that are passed. And we got a world exclusive on this. Oops, wrong graphic. Here it is. There's the third one. We have also, these are money for seniors that are passed. And also we have a world exclusive about Medicare in this cluster. So in the third cluster are passed free school meals for all checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, checks for farmers, checks for free internet, checks for clean energy, checks for workers like independent contractors, checks for seniors like dental, vision, and hearing care, and lowering the eligibility age for Medicare. Well, that becomes our exclusive. This channel can exclusively report that Senator Bob Casey, again, is looking in this third cluster to drop the Medicare eligibility age from 65 to 60. He, of course, is 61 years old. There you go. Those are the three clusters of checks passed in that subcommittee that pay this channel's viewers about $15,000. You've seen the first add-on from Maxine Waters to buy a new home, $25,000. The second add-on from Bob Casey for home health care, $250 billion. Now let's look, of course, at the third add-on, and you know, of course, what it is. Those MSCs. The incredible great news is that we have a big statement that came in to go into the weekend, and it comes from the chief of staff to the #1 senator in the game on recon. The chief of staff had a communications with a viewer of this channel, and let me tell you what the chief of staff said. We now have in total between congressional and senatorial offices have received more contacts of advocacy from LALATE and the Purple Power than the number of signatures of the American petition. That would put us at 3 million. Everyone is amazed by the outpouring of touching stories from the LALATE viewers. Now they have with LA more than what has been called a bunch of signatures. They now have a better understanding because of LALATE of how the average Americans are trying to make it through the pandemic. They have heartbreaking stories from LALATE viewers, and they have the voice of the people with LALATE himself across this nation that has become too loud to be ignored. And then comes a personal message to me from the chief of staff in the final sentence of this message. The final sentence of the message, the chief of staff says the following: please, LALATE, continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy as the professional voice of the people you have become, LALATE, and do this until this becomes law. So basically, let's continue to advocate until it becomes law. Now, when we look at this entire recon, $3.5 trillion that is in the subcommittee of the House, how do they add on this Maxine Waters of $25,000, this Bob Casey money for seniors, and these MSCs? Two different places, three opportunities, House and Senate. First on the House, second on the Senate. First, the House. The $3.5 trillion recon package is in a subcommittee, which is not the House. It's below the House. It's not to the House floor. It's not a bill yet. The author, Sheila Jackson, #2 in the Progressive Caucus. They can add it into the recon before it becomes a House bill. Or when it becomes a House bill and they're starting to prepare as a House bill, then they can add it. Or once we have a House bill, and let's say it's not in there, the provision we want is not in the House bill, the House members can say, you need to change this House bill before we call for a vote. Add it in there. So after it's a bill, but before it's a vote. But the most important time to change it, of course, is on the Senate side. When? During the 2-day event called the Vote-O-Rama. Yeah, I know it sounds tacky, that name. It sounds like, this vision of Mitch McConnell with bell-bottom jeans at Studio 54. You hear the title Vote-O-Rama, and you just say, is that really Mitch? Did he have that much hair then? And what is that shirt he's wearing? And is that a dance move? I know, you just hear that name and just conjures up the 1970s. Just the disco era, it comes really back very fast. Vote-O-Rama. Not my terminology. What is the Vote-O-Rama? It's a 2-day event at which the senators propose changes to whatever is in the House bill that passed. They look at the House bill, the senators say, we got to change this. They can add stuff in there, takes things out. Totally writes things up. And who is in charge of the 2-day Vote-O-Rama? Chuck Schumer. Who is in charge of the voting for the Vote-O-Rama? Chuck Schumer. Who's in charge of determining when something's called for a vote? Chuck Schumer. Who's a legislator who told viewers last week and the week before, like W. Applegate and Donnie's wife, that he's inserting a monthly IRS stimulus check provision? Chuck Schumer's office. And who's in charge of the attire, the dress attire, and the food at the Vote-O-Rama? Mitch McConnell. You just don't serve them lobster, Mitch, before they vote, please. It just doesn't go with the bell-bottom jeans. There you go. Coming up in the second half of this video, we got a lot coming up. We have this deal with Joe Manchin brewing. I'll explain this because this is huge. This is really big. And you're not going to hear this anywhere else except here and one print media outlet. Then we have the student loan debt forgiveness. As one viewer found out his debt had been forgiven, in the live chat of this channel. Oh, the incredible, inspiring story. It's coming up in the second half of this video. COLA's going up, but did you know you're getting 2 other raises thereafter? Yep, I got those as well. That's coming up. And then we'll go over how they're getting this recon done. I think it's going to get done. How they're getting from 3.5 to 2. It's very, very easy and breezy. I got all that and more. But first, there's a little bit about the community page. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Mornings LALATE continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right live from Santa Monica as Mornings LALATE continues. We got a big second half of this video. We'll be going over the possible deal with Joe Manchin. Wow, this is a biggie for your recon. Then student loan debt forgiveness. More debt has been forgiven, and one student found out his debt has been forgiven while watching this channel. You'll see the inspiring story. Then COLA's going up, but it's not just going up 5 to 6%. Guess what? Your benefits are going to get 2 raises thereafter with this stimulus. I got those details and more as we go into a big Mornings LALATE. I don't know how he stays on that board. I just, every time I see that video, I think he's going to crash. But boy, we got a big show coming up because after that, we'll be cutting over to the big money under third stimulus that's coming. We'll go over the deal to get the recon reduced to $2 trillion. The latest comments from Paul Pelosi, Alex Padilla, Steny Hoyer, and more. It's coming up in the second half of this video. We got a big show today, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers to YouTube. I want you to follow this family. Stay with me all weekend long because the legislators are working on the recon this weekend. Like the video and become a member. Coming up next is noontime at 11 a.m. I'm back with you live on air. Then we got a brand new show of Afternoons LALATE at 3, and then at 5. We got a lot of shows coming up later today. And with that, let's cut to the big surprise that really took America by storm. That is the student loan debt forgiveness. The president forgave a series of student loan debt over different rounds, but the latest round was the one that no one saw coming. Wrong graphic. Let me try this one. Here we go. The student loan debt forgiveness. Wow. So what happened? The president initially forgave student loan debt of individuals who became disabled after graduation. Then, in the last few days, the president forgave more student loan debt. Who did he give it for? And what happened with that one viewer? One viewer on Morning's Countdown yesterday was watching this channel live while the show was airing and said, "Is that me?" And I said, yes, it is. The president this week announced 2 more rounds of student loan debt forgiveness. First, the president's forgiving student loan debt of individuals who went into the nonprofit sector for over 10 years after graduation. Your debts are now forgiven officially. Then, the big one, the president forgave student loan debts of people who became public servants for 10 years after graduation. This is individuals who went to work for the federal government, the city, the county, or the state for at least 10 years after graduation, your debts are now forgiven. For example, you became a public school teacher, you became a sanitation driver, you became a public works official. Your debts are now totally forgiven. What happened? One viewer in the Morning's Countdown show yesterday was watching and said, "But LALATE, I've been a prison guard for the federal prisons for over 20 years since graduation. Do you mean my debts are forgiven?" I said, "Yes, sir, they are. Today, your debts are forgiven." He did not know it until watching this channel. What an inspiring story. He came in looking to learn about something else, and he got that surprise of a news story in the recording. There you go. Now let's turn to the big surprise that you're really only hearing for this channel and one print media outlet. A potential deal with Joe Manchin for your recon. Wow, this is huge. Let's go over all the dramatics of this starting right now and what is at issue. We got three parts of the recon that need to be modified. One, prescription medication, Chris Sinema has an issue with. Number two, the climate provision, Joe Manchin has an issue with. And number three, they got to get the recon from 3.5 trillion into the 2 range for the moderate Democrats. I'm going to show you in a second. They can get that done in a blink of an eye. The White House on Wednesday shocked everyone. The news did not come out until you saw it on this channel on Friday. It took a few days to get out. It was leaked out. The White House came up with a brilliant idea to do a deal with Joe Manchin and reportedly is currently in the works. What does the deal involve? Climate. Now, when I say the word climate on this channel, it does not refer to the weather is breezy or it's sunny or it's overcast or it's rainy. Climate refers to clean energy, coal, natural gas, fossil fuels. In the recon, in the $3.5 trillion recon, of those three clusters that have passed, there is a provision in there for climate, lots of provisions for climate, and lots of money for climate. But Joe Manchin has an issue with some of the wording in there. Okay. Joe Manchin is from the state of West Virginia. And in the state of West Virginia, there's several big industries that are the biggest part of the entire state, the biggest constituents for Joe Manchin. And who are those industries like? Who are those industries about? Those industries are things like fossil fuels. The White House then came up with this following brilliant idea. Take the language of the big money being sent out under climate in the three clusters so far past, change the language so that the industries in Joe Manchin's state of West Virginia qualify for the money. Oh boy. That is a brilliant move that apparently Joe Manchin likes. How can you not like it? If the number one industries in your state now qualify for billions of dollars, why would you not vote in favor of that provision that would pay your biggest constituents in the state potential billions of dollars? Yes, it's absolutely a brilliant move. The change underway is taking the language of coal and natural gas power plants and modify it in the recon so that billions of dollars of financial incentives would go to fossil fuel providers in Manchin's home state of West Virginia. Wow, now that is smart move, and I think it's going to work. You have your biggest constituents in your state and they qualify for billions of dollars, the biggest pay, the biggest check that they've ever seen. Why would you not agree to something like that? It just sounds right, and he wants the climate language change. There you go. Wow. Now, let's turn to the other part of the recon that's getting modified, and this one is exactly like how I said it was going to work. Reducing the duration of the programs. The President, Pelosi, Jolipal, Bernie have all talked about how long the programs in the recon are to run. And over the last few weeks, I've delivered a series of reports where I sometimes said, I think this is what's going on, and then slowly it becomes an exclusive, and then the exclusive gets confirmed by Jolipal. Let's go back over where we are right now to bring it up to the present. In the month of July, when we were pre-recon, Bernie Sanders was having meetings with the Democrats talking about let's do a recon. And he said, let's do $7 trillion for the recon. At the time, I said, I have a feeling Bernie is asking for 20-year programs, meaning programs that will run for 20 years. Now, this week, we have confirmation that is the case, that Sanders was asking for 20 years. Why? Because the president wanted. Why did the president want them for 20 years? The president wanted to leave a long-lasting legacy after he becomes president, after he's no longer with us, no longer on this earth, that are going to run for multiple generations. Didn't happen. So Bernie said he cut the duration of the programs to get to a $3.5 trillion price tag. Over the last 2 months, I said, I think Bernie got the programs to 10 years. Wasn't sure, but that's what I was reporting to you. We now have a quote from Jalopal going into the weekend that the programs in the recon are 10 years. There you go. So that's also been confirmed. So then, not this week, but the week before that, I said, this is easy. You want to get the recon from 3.5 trillion, where the progressives have it, to the low 2 trillion, where the moderate Democrats want it? Then just shorten the programs a little bit more to like 5 years. And by the middle of 2 weeks ago, Jalopal said, let's shorten the programs. This last Tuesday, Nancy Pelosi came out and said, there's 2 ways to do this recon to get it smaller. Remove a program and shorten the duration. Jalopal said, no, we'll just shorten the duration. Thank you, Speaker Pelosi. That's perfect. We're all on board. Just shorten the duration. And there you go. It's very simple. Let me explain to you what Jalopal's saying, what I'm saying. We're all in the same mindset with the Pelosi's saying. For the first time in a very long time, I have Pelosi, Jalopal, Bernie, myself. We're all in the same mindset. We have these programs that are currently at 10 years at 3.5 trillion. Moderate Democrats don't want to do it. So I said, just cut the programs to 5 years, for example, which brings the package down into the very low twos, like 2.0 or maybe even 1.9. Why does this make sense? Because you need a big check this year, a big check next year, and a big check the year after that. After that, after 3 years, we'll see how the situation is for a lot of people. But we need to get ourselves back to 2018, 2017. And we need about 3 or 4 really good years. That's what we need. We don't need to be focusing on small, tiny checks over 9, 10 years. We need big, massive checks now. For example, $4,000 of elder care. It's in there. We're not going to remove it. And we're not going to water it down to $200 a year for elder care. No. We're going to keep it at $4,000. So that you get this year, you get it next year, you get it the year after that, maybe you get it for 5 years. We don't need to focus on year 9 or year 8. We need to focus on big sums of money right now and getting them out right away. And that's exactly what everyone else is saying. That's why this is so easy to get done. Let's go over some of the quotes that we have going into today. We have Jalopal, who was asked, isn't just a little bit better than nothing? And she said, no. People have been asked to do that their entire lives. A little bit, why don't we do something rather than nothing? It's the same people are always forced to settle for nothing over and over and over again. We're not going to do that anymore. I love that. Then we had Pelosi absolutely be the biggest cheerleader for your recon that I've seen since the start of the recon. This just a few days ago. She said the recon will get done because the recon must get done. Wow. Then Pelosi said exactly what you wanted her to say, that the climate, which has to get modified for Joe Manchin, has to stay in there, and that we have to pass the climate, hence we have to pass the recon. Wow. Great news. Pelosi says central to the recon is the climate part. We will have to get this done. And Alex Padilla, who's a senator from here from California, replaced Harris when she went to VP. He says no climate, no deal. Absolutely. Then Pelosi said on Tuesday, we're going to have a couple of decisions to make in the next few days. They made those decisions by the end of the week, where she said, we'll just shorten the durations. We'll get to a smaller package. Done. We have Steny Hoyer, who's the majority leader of the House, saying we have to work together. They have worked together. And then the big quote, the big one from Jalopal, of course, which is, we don't have to have it for 10 years. We just need big checks right now. We would reduce the number of years because the universality of the benefits and the immediacy of the benefits are absolutely critical. And that, frankly, it's important for us to having that than having it for the entire 10 years. We're happy to see that Speaker Pelosi said the same thing in a press conference today. Absolutely. And there you go. That is huge. And that is basically how they get this recon done. One, changing the prescription medication language for Christensenema, which is very controversial language. Not a lot of some non-progressives don't like the language either. Also, change the climate for Joe Manchin. Change the language for the climate for Joe Manchin, so that his industry's biggest constituents in his home state qualify for the money. Number three, get that recon from the $3.5 trillion price tag into the low twos, high ones by just shortening the duration to 5 years from 10 years. Done. This is a no-brainer. It's very straightforward. It's very simple. And that's how they can get it done quickly. Now, let's turn to the big surprise that, I mean, can you imagine us looking back at July and saying, this is what's going on? I mean, can you imagine that in July we were talking about how great FIS stimulus will be because it'll raise your benefits up 5%? Look at this. Your COLA benefits are going up 5 to 6%. What? Yeah. Social Security Administration has announced that everyone's benefits will be going up 5 to 6% under existing law, COLA. Well, how does that apply to FIS stimulus? I'm going to explain. I'm going to explain COLA. I'm going to explain how this is not your only raise you're going to get. I'm going to explain it versus FIS stimulus and also put where forced stimulus is in this equation. First, you understand that we've covered a lot in this video about stuff for seniors in forced stimulus. Let's put that all aside. We have third cluster that has checks for seniors. We have Medicare eligibility, checks for dental and vision. Let's put that all aside. The Bob Casey, the $250 billion for seniors, let's put that aside. Let's just deal with this stimulus, which is SSI and SSDI and Social Security reform, and this. First, everyone's benefits, if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, under law, will be going up 5 to 6% in the next few weeks. Now, I've seen the comments in the last few days. People, if you haven't taken that community college class called LALATE 101, there's just people that just don't understand my way I talk sometimes. When I say will, they say, oh, benefits are going up 5 to 6%. What, in 20 minutes? In like an hour from now? No, will, in a few weeks. Oh, so like in 7 days from now? No, go with So people sometimes hear my verb tenses and they literally think like by lunchtime it's going up 5 to 6%. It's in a few weeks. It's in a few weeks. Now that's COLA. That's existing law for decades, for years. COLA did Zippo for anyone. COLA remained zero, and so every year you got a check that was the same check you got the year before. And when we looked back in the month of July, when I was covering FIS stimulus, I said inflation is going up by the end of this year. At the time in July, I said inflation may reach 5% by the end of this year. Wall Street was looking at 2% at the time. Federal Reserve was looking at 1% or some very low number. Now I'm on the low end. I had said 5 in July. Well, guess what? Here's COLA coming in at 5. This is huge because I said under FIS stimulus, you're going to get that raise up one time and then get an additional 5%. Under FIS stimulus. And we were celebrating how great that FIS stimulus was. Well, now you're already getting it in the COLA. But wait, that's just the first raise. All right, let's explain. This raise under COLA is kicking in the next few weeks. You're going to go up 5 to 6% for your benefits. But that's one of 3 potential raises if they get FIS stimulus done. FIS stimulus, let's say it becomes law in January. Then what would happen next? FIS stimulus looks to raise everyone's benefits up one big time if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits. So you would get a second raise up as soon as FIS stimulus becomes law, a second raise up. Then FIS stimulus looks to replace COLA with inflation as the next benchmark for the next time they do it, which potentially would be end of next year. And that would be your third raise up. Where's inflation going to be in fall of 2022? It's not going to be zero. So COLA could be zero next year. Inflation is not going to be zero. And inflation may be, 2-3% next December. That means you'll get another lift up, a third one. Let's recap. First, you're going to go up under this, COLA. So you're going to go up. Then, if this stimulus becomes law, they're going to raise your benefits up another time. Then, next December, they'll apply a new benchmark, which inflation, it's going to go up a third time. It's all cumulative. One on top of the other. It's not either or. Yes, that's wonderful news. They're also going to remove the asset cap dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have some muddled green. Muddled green. and keep some stimulus checks in your hand. They're going to remove the asset cap, the income cap dating back to the 1960s law that says you can't work and stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty is going to win, and love is going to end, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. You'll no longer fear loss of benefits. And viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to get married and no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That is fifth stimulus. And why COLA with the raise right now is good, because it's the first and it's not the only raise that you get when fifth stimulus becomes law. There you go. With that, now let's go to the big surprise that I said was still happening. But boy, one person going into this weekend with $36,000 he didn't have 5 days ago. Let's recap. Here's Prina. You remember Prina? Prina, not this week, but the week before, started with $0 from viewing this channel. She went into last weekend with $6,000. What happened? I had told viewers that Department of Treasury is sending out more money for rent and utilities, so reach out to your local city and state to get that money. And she did. And within 5 days, she got $6,000 from this channel. This was last weekend. At the time, she wrote, "I want to thank you, LALATE. When you mentioned the extra $13 billion for the states, I immediately pounced. I contacted the city of Austin, and I got approved $6,000 for 8 months of rent into 2022. Wow. But now let's turn to Mark. You remember Mark, $51,000 Mark? Well, I said to everyone last week, if you got money from before from this channel, get more money. And if you haven't, get money right now. Mark got $36,000 this week from this channel for rent. So get that pen, paper, cell phone ready. I'm going to show you how to get some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, clothing, appliances, home repairs, and holiday gifts. And it's all starting right now. First, we're going to go over rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. Reach out to all 6. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. Then get ready for the keywords I see in this video. It helps get people approved. And then come the nonprofits. Watch for those. All right, here are the 6 places you're going to reach out to for rent, utilities, and mortgage. Your city hall, your city house authority. Your county hall, your county house authority. Your state hall, and your state house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. And here are the numbers that people are getting for rent a month ago. Nisi at $20,000 all the way up to Elizabeth, all Purple Hawks. But now the numbers have grown to $40,000 with Jen 2 weeks ago. There's Mark. He had gotten $25,000 about a month ago, 2 months ago. Now he got an additional $36,000 on top of that. Then go get those utilities. If you got 5 utilities, reach out to all 5. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 for utilities. Wow. Then get SNAP. What's SNAP? SNAP is money for food. You get it from the Department of Agriculture. Eligibility is easier than a stimulus check. And yes, it's a lot of money. Everyone's benefits are going up an average of 25% lifetime automatically starting this month. Mark's brother-in-law is going from $21,000 to $26,000 every year because of this channel. Get that SNAP. Get it right today, Department of Agriculture. Then get multiple sums of money. If you've gotten money from this channel before, get more money. And here are multiple sums. $32,000. Here is Lorraine, $106,000. That was then. She keeps on getting more money. She got 100. She's now up to 120,000. And here was Mark going into this week at 51,000. He got an additional $36,000. So $51,000 Mark is now almost $90,000 Mark. All right, now let's turn to the nonprofits. Get that pen and paper ready. I got 5 nonprofits for you. What's important to understand is I've been doing these videos for about a year and a half. And even in the worst times of the pandemic in fall of 2020, I got people rent in every single state, county, and city. It's everywhere. Now, it's easier to get the rent than then. There's a lot of money out there now. Much easier right now. So, if you have a neighbor's sister's dog, cat groomer, pet ventriloquist who says to you there's no money in your city, just ignore the ventriloquist and tell them to keep their mouths shut. Well, I guess their mouth is shut because they're ventriloquists. But, you know, they don't know what they're talking about. Just tell them not to talk. Tell the ventriloquist not to talk because doesn't know what he's talking about. There's literally money everywhere for the money for rent and utilities. And if you've reached out to all 6 places that I detailed and you saw that there was money there, but you have an eligibility problem, Then get ready for the nonprofits, because I got 5 of them for you, and they have different eligibility than the federal government. First, the 5 nonprofits pay for the same items under third stimulus that the federal government pays for, but with different eligibility, because they're nonprofits. Here they are: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. Next, it's important to remember that the nonprofits also pay for items that the federal government doesn't pay for. And they pay for homeless people into shelter. They pay for holiday gifts like Salvation Army. They're doing them right now. So reach out to Salvation Army for Christmas gifts right now. They don't do them in December. They do them in October. They also do a lot of things like clothing for people who can't afford clothing, small appliances like refrigerators, furnaces, or portable heaters if you need heat, or if you have a broken window that's causing a big draft, they fix those. The common theme of the nonprofits is they don't want you to freeze to death, and they don't want you to burn up in the thick of the heat. So they want you to be safe and secure in your home or dwelling. So that is why they often do these incredible things to make sure that you're safe and warm, like blankets as well. So reach out to the 5 nonprofits. They, again, are United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, and St. Vincent de Paul. They're also featured in the newsletter. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what you're doing, the link is under the video. As we look at this fourth stimulus recon, it will pay viewers of this channel about $15,000. If you've seen something in this video in fourth stimulus that makes you very excited, become a member, because as soon as you become a member, I'm going to show you, after this becomes law, how to get any particular item from this fourth stimulus recon. In third stimulus, as soon as third stimulus became a law, some people immediately said, where's that $1,400 stimulus check? I said to viewers, focus on the $15,000 I can get you under third stimulus as a member. I undervalued it. The average viewer to date has gotten about $40,000 from third stimulus from this channel. And the numbers are still coming in. This week, you see viewers like Mark getting $36,000. Members are delivered Monday through Friday from me to them, from me to you, a newsletter. And the newsletter features all the big money under first, second, and third stimulus. It's delivered at about 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alerts system. It features all the big money available under first, second, and third stimulus. The LALATE alert system is totally free. It's also in the link to this in the description of this video. It's at news.lalate.com/alerts. We also now have 2 additional community volunteers that can help you with finding the newsletter or finding membership if you can't find either of them or have any sort of technical problems. There you go. Well, what a day it has been. With 4 stimulus now set for about $15,000 for this viewers' channel, and 3 packages, 3 clusters being proposed to be added in there, the Maxine Waters, the Bob Casey, and the MSC. Keep on advocating and stay with me, because coming up next is the 11 a.m. live on-air noontime show. I'm so excited for you. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers on YouTube record. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Also today, new shows at 3 o'clock with Afternoons LA and Evenings LA at 5 o'clock. Then we got shows tonight at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11:30, 3 a.m. and 3:30 a.m. all about fourth stimulus as we go into tomorrow's morning's shows as well. The toast was toast and the butter was buttering, and I'll be back with you at noontime at 11 a.m.